Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the AMS podcast. I am your host, Adrian Michael Soto, and this is episode number 5, numero cinco, excuse me. And I appreciate everybody listening to the previous episodes. Once again, I'm just coming up with all these things on the fly. Just going to continue as we proceed. And as you're possibly hearing the audio, or maybe you didn't realize it, I decided to add an extra tool to this. I have a microphone in front of me, an actual microphone, and it does have a little bit of an improvement and difference as opposed to the microphones you see news reporters have. They're called lav mics, where it's like a little clip, and the microphone goes to the person that's on the news and stuff. So this episode's gonna be different, and as I referenced in the past, it's discussing all things films, past, present, and future. So what I'm gonna do here is discuss a little bit of the month. We're hitting the middle of February, a month movie preview. Reference some movies that are currently out right now for the month of February, and movies that will be coming out for the month of February, and possibly in future episodes in the upcoming months, depending on how things go scheduling wise. I may add reference upcoming movies for each month of the year, and I will also be doing just things of pop culture per se and my take on it, and a little bit of movies that are going back to January and February, movies that were released 20 years ago and 10 years ago. And as I speak with you right now, I don't have it on the fly, so once I reference those, I will look them up and make us feel old. But going to the movies that were that movie month of February, we have about, including as of today, the time of this release, about a week and a half left. February is one of those short months. So as we look into the rest of the month of February, what is out now in theaters is 80 for Brady and The Knock at the Cabin, and other ones appear to be limited releases. Your Place or Mine, a Netflix release starring Reese Witherspoon, Ashton Kutcher. Sharper, starring Julianne Moore, Sebastian Stan. Consecration, and I will go into a little bit of the bigger releases for the rest of February. But from what I've seen in the box office, as I said, I'm trying to multitask here. I am by no means a professional at this, so bear with me for a second. And as you probably hear in the background, I have my laptop sitting next to me. Thus far, from what's come out this year, it looks like 80 for Brady and the other one, The Knock at the Cabin, one is definitely been larger than the other. So, Magic Mike's Last Dance, for anybody. I'm looking at the box office here. Sorry, I just knocked the door. That's how good this sound is. It'll catch any sound within the distance. So, also was released the 25th anniversary of Titanic. So, at the top 5 box office, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're looking at Magic Mike, which earned $8 million. Avatar: The Way of Water, which is already, I believe, at $2 billion, earned $7 million. Titanic earned $6 million, which, adding to its $2 billion price range. 80 for Brady, it earned $5 million. And Puss in Boots, which I'm a fan of the Shrek films, earned 5.6 million, and it is nominated for award season for the Oscars this coming year. So the movies, I'm gonna have to try and do the best I can to attend some movie screenings where by no means I am an actual professional film critic. People in the past, as I've mentioned in episodes, get my or another projects get like when I post movie reviews and they make sure that they want to get my take, and by no means they're not going to agree with my take in any way. And so it's gonna just basically be, oh, what did you think? And oh, I give general consensus, and maybe for some of them might be a little more positive in the comic book films. A good friend of mine, he disagrees with me. I laugh because he disagrees with me in quite a bit of them, and which is it's fine. Films is film discussing films, liking films. It's it's gonna be half and half. We're all gonna like stuff. We're all not gonna like stuff. And the one that's kind of caught my eye was the Knock at the Cabin, which I would say M Night Shyamalan does a pretty good job of doing some of his movies. Some of his movies are really of a miss, and some of his classics like Unbreakable. Oh my god, I just drew a blank. I drew a blank. Oh my gosh. Sixth Sense. I literally drew a blank on the Sixth Sense of all movies. But yeah, his movies are pretty much fairly good for the most part. And The Knock at the Cabin, I've heard pretty decent reviews. Nothing too bad. So thus far, it's earned 40 million in the box office, and it's already going on 1 week, and that's I would say pretty decent for M Night Shyamalan. But as we proceed to the other releases, once again, as you've known this far since I've started all this, a big start of actual blockbuster movie releases: Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium, starring Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer. That movie has begun to get kind of mixed reviews, and for me, I still watch plenty of reviews online. I get their take. I'm gonna go in an open mind, and what's gonna be on me is my opinion only, and everybody else has their opinion. You don't have to watch it, or you can watch it. You're a casual fan, or you're that nerdy comic book fan like myself. I will definitely be checking it out this weekend. Check on my channel. You'll get a quick take of my initial reaction and a little bit of a spoiler, a non-spoiler spoiler of the film, which is starting Marvel's Phase 5 film series. And next Friday is going to be an interesting one. It is based on a true story. The title sounds ridiculous. It has me intrigued. I'm like tempted to see it, so I'm going to give it a chance and let's see what this movie is about. Cocaine Bear, starring Kerry Russell, Ray Liotta, and O'Shea Jackson Jr. And from the premise, as you probably have seen on the trailer, it is basically a drug scheme gone wrong, and a certain amount or loss of cocaine has been lost. And of all things, a bear finds it, and it's a bear hopped up on cocaine. Just by the way, it assumes it's going to be wild, funny, and just downright crazy. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of the wildness of like the Hangover movies. Like those movies were funny but wild at the same time, and you're just amazed how things are of how things just happen in that movie. So let's see how those go. And that will be it for February, really. February and January are more or less of the limited run. Um, March and April, you'll slowly start to see more blockbusters. A lot of these movies had gotten delayed and pushed due to the fact of the pandemic and COVID 19. So I'll do my best to have movie reviews of some of these movies. Keep your eyes out for March. You got Creed 3, Scream 6, I think it is, Shazam 2, Champions, John Wick, Part 4, Dungeons and Dragons, and other releases that look to be limited, and I could just keep going on. But yeah, those are pretty much the movies for February. You let me know what you plan on seeing. You want to wait till something catches your eye. Um, like I said, not a lot of these big movie studios end up releasing their blockbusters. It just depends where the competition is, and they'll release it at the beginning of the year. To some who may not know this, if you probably didn't realize, January, so a little bit of February, but mostly January was the, if not literally but figuratively, the dumping ground for movies that have no chance against like the big blockbusters. So if you were to Google in the past of previous films released, it was your movies that would never have a chance of making like the big bucks of what all these big blockbuster films have done. But for the past several years, you could say movies studios have changed their minds and released films and different things. They just don't want to compete with the major big houses like Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal Studios, and your superhero franchises, sci-fi, comedies, and family films and things like that. So that's kind of it for that. As I proceed, I'm gonna just look up movie news itself, and get my take and go a little bit in depth of maybe things that you may not have known or want to may have not want to have found out. So a little bit of just reading some headlines and what's to partake in the way things are looking thus far. By no means the podcast is gonna constantly be a movie news sort of movie news thing. I am gonna talk about other topics as I've mentioned in the past of certain things, but kind of reading off of a headline here off of a website. Keanu Reeves fought for John Wick 4 for a theatrical release. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, John Wick is a fantastic film series. If you have not seen it, by all means give it a try, check it out. It is fantastic. Keanu Reeves is just phenomenal, just kicking ass and using forms of combat and weaponry and all that sort of stuff. And as I'm not really going into detail, but I would assume kind of like how Tom Cruise pushed for Top Gun to end up in the movie theaters. And last year, Top Gun was one of the biggest summer films, and movie studios at the time were hesitant to bring their movies into the theaters. So Tom Cruise just said, nope, nope, nope. He will wait. He will push Top Gun. Even though it had been 30 years since the original first one, he pushed and pushed for the second Top Gun film to release in theaters. So that's what it looks like here for Keanu Reeves is that certain movies are meant to be experienced in the theater, and something like Top Gun definitely, if you saw it in the theater, you probably get my sentiments that it's a theater experience. And I would definitely understand that Keanu Reeves has been already around for his fourth time as John Wick. This film series I wouldn't be without a doubt that it's going to give you so much action, just suspense. You're going to be on the edge of your seat. That's how great and fantastic this stuff is. And to I'm definitely excited to see this movie right when it comes out. And I'd say, like I said, look into watching the film series before the release of this one, which will be coming out next month in March. And the next title or next headline that I'm seeing here in front of me is Quantum Ant-Man Quantumanium has the second worst MCU Rotten Tomato score after Eternals. So, I'm not going to go into specifics and to really detail, but like I said, we all love films in different ways. We liked it, we loved it, we hated it, we have different emotions. By no means anybody that tells me that any of the films I like that they didn't like, I'm not going to hate them, disrespect their opinion by any means. That's their opinion. They don't like it, they don't like it. My family occasionally watches the comic book films, and if they didn't like it, they didn't like it. It's not their cup of tea. I'm not gonna. Anybody that brings up their favorite films, I'm not going to disrespect their opinion on their take and taste. It's not my cup of tea, and that's how it is. And Marvel movies have been hit or miss, you could say, since 2008. And they started off with Iron Man. This is already like the 31st film in this film series franchise. And for some people, it looks like they're expecting Marvel to go in a different route, and they're doing something else, and it's not satisfying to them. It's confusing them. I'm hearing a lot of mixed things about this. They're going to be introducing a new bad guy. So it's going to be everybody's take. And in the end, everybody's open and free to judge it the way they want to judge it. I can have another episode of ranking all 30 plus Marvel movies and explaining why I feel like the way they are. But I don't know. It's just weird on how that's how not everybody's gonna enjoy what you enjoy. And as of this first intro in a Phase 5 for Marvel Studios is going to be a mixed bag, and maybe the future projects and films are going to be just different in per se of their interpretation of where they view this. And the Ant-Man series is a really fun series to watch, so it's gonna just be up to the people and what they decide. And once I said I'm gonna go open-minded, my opinion only, and then I'll kind of agree or disagree with anybody I meet in person or the movie reviewers I follow online or I watch their YouTube channel, and it'll end up being my take, and we agree, and I could see of a Rotten Tomato score. And just before I end it, going into a few more topics, is Rotten Tomatoes is a website where either you get it certified fresh, which I believe if it's above a 70 or 60 or above to 100, and then if it's below a 60 or above, then it's rotten, basically to the movie reviewers, the professional movie reviewers, that it either was good or it sucks. So let's wait and see once I catch the Ant-Man movie, see what I think, and we'll go from there. So, as of this moment, one of Marvel Studios' future projects is finally bringing the Merc with a Mouth Deadpool into the MCU, and his previous two films were rated R. So, president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, is bringing Deadpool as a part of the MCU and has this moment confirmed that Deadpool is going to be a rated R movie along with Hugh Jackman. And to some that watched Hugh Jackman last in Logan, this might seem confusing to some of you, and to some, maybe you might get this. This version of Wolverine is different, of a different timeline from the one that, spoiler alert, was seen in Logan. So this is like an alternative reality version. So it looks like it's gonna be a buddy cop movie, and in real life, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman love these characters so much. They're really good in acting, um, and they've portrayed these characters, and it's been a part of their life. And to see like this comic book version being done correctly, not like X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was, I would say, it's probably the worst, one of the bottom of the totem pole worst superhero movies done. Even though I love Hugh Jackman as he plays Wolverine, but yeah, that movie's not great. So expect Deadpool 3 to continue to be rated R. And other than that, this past weekend, as done on a previous episode, was the Super Bowl. As I've seen in other channels or radio stations, you can say the word Super Bowl just as long as it's not an advertisement, because advertisement is the big game. And pretty much the big game also releases a variety of commercials which cost and TV movie trailers up to about in the millions and $1 million range, and some of those were the Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, Indiana Jones, The Flash, Mario Brothers, and Indiana Jones. And I lost my train of thought there if I said Indiana Jones first time, forgive me, but yeah, those are gonna be the summer movie season, and usually the summer movie season, summer doesn't really start till like June, but Hollywood has said that, or started the summer movie season right after Memorial Weekend, and Guardians is gonna be one of those first ones. Well, before that, it'll be Super Mario Brothers, which looks really interesting from the animation standpoint. To some people, it doesn't end up looking that they don't like the way that Chris Pratt is Mario. It really doesn't bother me. Like I said, it's open for interpretation. Once you see it in person, you give your take and everybody else's. But then you go on the list of those movies, and it's going to just be such a wide, different variety of different movies and things to expect for the summer. And that was a little short, brief stint of movie news. And as I continue here, I'm going to look up on the fly here movies released 10 years, released 30 years ago. So the movies that came out 30 years ago today, let's see, I'm going to give you 3 movies that are turning 30. And each of them is, man, the first 3 that are coming off of this list is Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze starring together in a movie called Ghost. And to many that are If you want to feel old, was released 30 years ago today. I'm not going to go on the specifics on the dates. Another film released 30 years ago today, Home Alone, um, starring the young Kevin Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister, and that movie is played throughout the whole month of December, which was just about a month and a half ago for the holiday season. And I would say another um, cultural influence directed by Gary Marshall, romantic comedy, Julia Roberts and Richard Gere and Pretty Woman. That movie is a cultural phenomenon, and it basically it basically is um, just one of those that is in both of those people's career. And I'm gonna look up movies that turned 20 years old in 2023. So bear with me. I usually have a setup here, but today I've decided to go on the fly a little bit. So here we go, 13 movies that are turning 20 in 2023. 20 years old. Oh man. Lord of the Rings and the Return of the King. That film is just one of the best fantasy films. I need to sit down and leave my day open for watching the extended version, which is like 5 hours long. It's on like three Blu-rays, I think. Finding Nemo, one of Pixar's best films. Uh, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days with Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson. Another romantic comedy. Oh man, I even read the book on this one. Holes with a young Shia LaBeouf. Really good book. And for the most part, as I've probably mentioned in the past, books tend to stray away from the movies. This one did stray away a little bit, and it pretty much hit its mark. And another movie, just real quick, Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston. That movie is, I'd say, one of my favorites of Jim Carrey's. It's not like fantastic, amazing, but it's one of those good, funny films. And let's just do one more before we close out here today. Movies turning 10, even though it's like 10 years ago. Let's go 10, 20. From the next episode, if I bring up any previous episodes or any future episodes of movies turning 10, 20, or 30, I will have a list as I'm talking to you right now. I'm just kind of looking up on the fly. No. Movies that came out 10 years ago. You gotta be specific when you look up stuff on an internet. Movies that came out 10 years ago today in 20. Sorry for the dead air. Let's see if it gives me anything. Nope, it's not gonna give me anything. But movies turning 10 years old. One last time. Let's see. Let me just go real quick. 10 years old today, 2023. I could probably just do a math here. Movies in 2013. Let's just do that. I realized it. There we go. Um, Movies that came out in 2013. We're already hitting the 10-year mark. The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smog, Rush, Frozen. Wow, Frozen's only 10 years old. The Wolf of Wall Street. I've kind of thought the movie was crazy because how much of a real story that's based on, but that's a fairly good movie. A really good movie. Iron Man 3, Pacific Rim, Man of Steel, Thor, The Dark World, The Conjuring, Prisoners, and that's it. I'm gonna, like I said, have a little bit more of an organization for this episode. This episode, I wanted to do something a little bit different, just come up on the fly. I have my laptop next to me. I still wanted just to reference off of some things here, but that is it on episode number 5. This, I would call it the news update, movie news update, recapping what's to come for the month of February, what's on the movie news docket for the month of February, and um, movie news that's in the world today, and how old movies are. And like I said, revisit any movies that came out 10 years ago, 20, 15, 1 year ago. Keep watching the movies you love. Keep being you. Enjoy what you love. Show somebody that may be a film fan like myself that has never seen a particular movie, reference it, and just enjoy what is a vast encyclopedia of A to Z of so many different movies. That is it for episode number 5. Thank you all so much for listening. Like, subscribe, show anybody if you've missed any of the previous 4 episodes. They're on the channel. Eventually, if scheduling permits, like I said, I have a upgrade on a microphone right in front of me. If scheduling permits, I will try to transition into a video format. But for now, this is going to be sticking with the audio aspect of it. I appreciate you all for listening. This was, that's it. That's all she wrote. This has been the AMS podcast discussing all films past, present, and future. I am your host, Adrian Michael Soto. You all take care for now. Bye-bye. I'll see you when I see you.